Oh, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we are making our own GUI framework. Because I want to, I guess. So we've been working on this image editor for a little bit, right? We can like draw stuff. We can like I don't know. We can like make some circles from some shader. Like we can make some text or something, and blah blah blah. Right? We like have like ability to start doing some stuff, right? And what you'll notice on this on the side, you're gonna see like the very familiar I am GUI as our way of like doing UI stuff, right? We kind of initially brought this in as a kind of like placeholder UI, right? We're kind of like, we need something that'll get us up quick and running, or get us up running quick, I guess is the way you would say that in English. Um, but we kind of never planned on leaving it forever. One, because I think it's kind of fun to say, I made an image editor with no dependencies. I just think that's kind of funny. But also because I think that like design wise, it is nicer for me to be able to kind of like envision a thing and put it on the screen versus trying to like finagle an existing UI framework into something that I like. There's also kind of like other components here. One is that we've started like making our own custom UI widgets like this thing, right? So if we go in here, we have all sorts of like uh behavior like we update like our view into each component in our editor as we like make changes here. So like if I change this, you'll see it like affect here. Um and we ran out of space when we try to like position these things, right? And eventually I'm going to have to like implement like a scroll view on top of this thing. We could try to like integrate with ImGUI, but it's just kind of nicer, I think, if we don't have to do that. So it is now time, since we've started adding our own custom widgets, it makes sense to try to make some form of like widget framework, to go with it, because then we can start to doing things like make a scroll view, and then we can reuse that scroll view somewhere else. It also kind of lines up well because we've just kind of finished our first pass at text rendering. Obviously, it's far from perfect, but we have some form of like ability to put letters on the screen, and so this is kind of like I think the hard part of a GUI framework, and the easy part is like putting blue boxes on the screen that you can click, right? So everything's kind of lining up right now for like it is time. It is time. And so, I don't really have much of a plan, but I think we'll just try to like put some stuff on the screen and figure out how we want it to work. So I do know that like there are kind of like workflows from immediate mode GUIs that I like. I like the idea that tech like layout of widgets is relatively cheap, right? So trying to do this like complex state tracking versus just being like, okay, I have like new stuff, I'll put the stuff on the screen now and we'll relay it out and stuff. I like that idea. There are things about immediate mode GUIs that I don't like, such as like in order for me to be able to like have state here, like I've clicked this button and I'm like moving down, it means that there has to be like some sort of like in between frame dependency that is not really tracked explicitly. You kind of have like this like ID system that shows up in a lot of GUI, like immediate mode GUI frameworks, where like it kind of tries to like auto generate an ID based off like the content of what you put in the function calls, and then like if you have like duplicate labels for things, you have to like in ImGUI type like double what's it called pound symbol to like specify like an explicit ID, things like that. I don't really like that, so I don't think I'm going to go that route. What I'm kind of imagining here is that we're going to have some form of like layout step followed by like an input handling step and a rendering step, but I really haven't thought about it much more than that. I think what probably makes sense is to just kind of just start trying to put shit on the screen, and I think that we will like discover what a good UI framework is from that. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to like just start by copy pasting the main of our image editor, try to get somewhere else. We'll call this like main GUI test zig or something. Did I type text? I did. We've been working with text so much recently, and let's go into main GUI test and just start like nuking stuff that we don't need. So there's like window initialization stuff and input handling stuff in here that's kind of nice to keep around. Anything ImGUI related we'll just like ditch. Any argument processing we'll ditch. Any like GL shader stuff we can get rid of. Get rid of our like references to our application, get rid of argument parsing, and here is our like main loop. So we like get the window size and we do some stuff. So we'll just delete the vast majority of anything we do. I guess we do have to like drain the like event queue to make sure that we don't like buffer input events forever. This is kind of like the core of the loop here. So maybe we just do like a GL clear here, just to like prove to ourselves that we have something on the screen with a clear color of red. And we're not using our allocator right now, so that's fine. We'll just kind of, I'm sure that we will use it, so I'm not going to get rid of it. And let's add this to our build. So can we be like, I would like to make our GUI test exe. We'll call this GUI, and we will come from main GUI test here, okay? And I think we need glfw and probably GL. Yes, we need glfw and OpenGL, and probably link libc as well. Probably those are the three things we need. GUI test exe. Blomp, 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 blomp. So I guess we need libc as well. Okay, so hopefully now we can build and nothing falls the fuck over. We will see though. Okay, so he's mad because our GUI test has like a bunch of imports that he's not using. So we do still want GFW, but we don't really want anything else. And then from here, we can probably keep standard library and just delete anything related to like our application, because none of that shit matters right now. We do need to import GL as well. I think we have that split out into like a gl.zig that just does the C import stuff for us. Okay, nice. And let's open the GUI. Nice, a little red screen for us. So we do have something, and let's just prove to ourselves. We change the color, and we get something. Yellow. Bang. Okay. So let's say that we want to like lay stuff out on the screen, right? I think typically the way that you would like expect this stuff to work, the pattern I've seen before is you have like some window, right? And in the window, you put like a button, and then you put like another button, and then you put some like text, right? And then you sometimes you do like a horizontal layout, so you like might like make a container here that has like a button and a button like this, right? So we can kind of like assume that we need some sort of way to render a button, right? We're gonna have some sort of like button abstraction as well as some sort of like text abstraction. And we're gonna want to like put that on the screen. Probably we're gonna be like iterating throughout the screen as we move. So I think the idea of like a cursor makes a lot of sense. And how do we want to like store his position? Maybe in terms of like signed pixel position. I'm kind of torn on if I want to do this in pixels or in OpenGL normalized coordinate space. I suspect that things will be easier in pixel space because of the fact that as you resize the window, you kind of want your widgets to stay the same size, right? You don't want them to like grow with the window. So I think doing everything in pixel space will make more sense, but we might decide that that's not true later. Okay, so then we're gonna like, let's say we have like a button, right? Maybe we'll call it a rectangle for now. Let's just start by rendering a rectangle, and the rectangle will be rendered with some color, right? So let's just say that he's like got some color type, maybe externally owned, sure. And this struct will just be like our GBA, right? And he's gonna have some sort of render function, right? I'm deciding to do a rectangle here because this is like the simplest thing in the world. You just literally do like a GL clear and a GL like at some location, right? So you do like GL viewport is like wherever the fuck we want to be. So presumably we have somewhere we want to be, right? Position. We probably have like some X position in pixel space, some Y position, some width, and some height, I guess, right? And here we're just gonna position ourselves there. So we'll say like, what are we doing? We're saying like GL viewport at pause X, pause Y, width and height, right? Self dot on all these, boom, boom, and then we GL scissor this thing. the same shit. And I guess that means we need to make sure that like GL scissor is enabled. So I think it's like GL enable, GL scissor. I think it's something like that. Test, I think, maybe here. Something like that. Okay. And then at the end, we need to make sure that we set the viewport here so that we don't like break anything. So this is like 0, 0, width, height. Okay. So then we're going to like make some widget. Rect1 is a rectangle. And we were talking about initializing him with like some sort of cursor, right? So we're gonna be like, make me a rectangle. And I guess we will kind of like make that rectangle at the current cursor position. And I guess we'll like modify the cursor as we go, which seems kind of reasonable. And then we will position him with some sort of like width, height, and color. Right? That seems reasonable. I guess width and height shouldn't be signed, but whatever. I don't give a shit right now. Okay, so we're gonna be like, make me one of these guys. Okay. And his position X is gonna be the cursor X. Position Y is gonna be the cursor Y. And then we're gonna say width is width. Okay, simple. Everything is so simple so far. Width is spelled like this, and height is not spelled with any of the letters in that width, so I don't know why I copy pasted. Color is color, okay? And that's it. And I guess we have to increment the cursor X and Y. Well, I guess we kind of only increment the cursor Y, right? Because the width here doesn't actually matter. This brings up some questions about if we're going to be doing like horizontal or vertical layout. We can always handle that later. As with everything we do, we don't think about the corner cases and we deal with them later. It's the easiest fix. We're gonna have to use our color R, color G, color B, and color A here. Okay. And I guess that's kind of all we can do for a rectangle. So here we make a rectangle with the cursor. Right? We're like, here's our cursor, and we want this to be like 20 by 10, right? Seems reasonable. And maybe we'll color this thing like blue so that we don't conflict with any red-green colorblind people. Okay. And now we need a cursor. So I guess we initialize the cursor at the start of the frame. Right? Presumably this thing starts at the top of the world. And then we're gonna make like two rectangles, right? We'll make one blue and one blue and green together, whatever color that is. And we'll make this one a little bit bigger, right? Just so we can kind of explore. And then if we're like, okay, now we want to render these things, do we see 218? What's he pissed about? Int cast here. So I guess what we're hoping to see is two rectangles in the left stacked on top of each other, or kind of like moving down from the top left to the bottom left. What's he pissed about? I forgot the arc here. Instead, we're getting them from the bottom left to upwards, and the pixel sizes are way too small for us to like experiment. So can we just like add a 0 to everything in here? Yeah, okay. So we do have two rectangles that have stacked themselves on top of each other, so the cursor tracking is working. We have a problem here where we have like inverted space, which is kind of annoying. How do we deal with that? If we want to go top to bottom, like you kind of have to feed, like, and we want this rectangle to be in like top to bottom pixel space. I think that makes more sense. Can you do like this? Is that allowed? No. Yeah, because your position has to be like height minus. Ugh, gross. Yeah. I guess for now we can bake this information in here. This isn't great. I'm gonna try to figure out some way to deal with this later. But we can just do this for now. Right, we can do we might need to subtract self.height as well, I'm not sure. Because I think that yeah, we go from like bottom. Yeah, we need to do this, and then our height is gonna be self height. I think it still makes sense. Fuck. Right, because now we need to give the window height when we render. And then we need to intcast this thing. I guess. Okay, there we go. That's now kind of behaving the way I would hope. Now, what do we do if we want to kind of put, like, automatically lay these things out, right? We kind of probably want to, well, maybe it makes sense to, what does my to-do list say? It says layout any widgets, then layout multiple widget types, then find a widget distraction. I don't really like that. I think that the next thing I want to do is do some sort of like input handling, right? So let's try to figure out, like, say I want to like check if I'm hovering over this thing, right? And change the color. I think that's reasonable. I think that means that we're going to want to do some sort of like input handling. And we're going to want to be like, here's the current mouse position, right? I think that makes sense. So I think we have some sort of like action queue here that will like propagate our window mouse position to us. If I remember correctly, it was like mouse move. We can just be like our mouse pause is I don't know what the type here is. What is this thing? Mouse pause. Okay, sure. Var mouse pause is mouse pause default initialize. Let's just put them at like 0, 0 for now. And then we can do something like basically like rect1 input with the mouse position or something, right? So here will be like function input. And here we can be like, okay, so if the mouse is over the widget, then we should do something. Sure. So it'll be like if mouse, this is not a bool, this is a mouse pause. All right, if mouse pause x is greater than self pause x and mouse pause x is less than self pause x plus self width. I guess we want like mouse pause x is as an int. And we want y as an int as well. So we'll kind of do like this, and then here we'll just say anywhere we had like mouse pause dot, we write like underscore. And so I guess we want to do like the same hit test with y. So we do like underscore x with underscore y, and then this is height. Okay. And then this needs a end here, I guess. Okay. So if all of this is true, we change the color so that the thing that we're hovering is a different color. So we say like self color r plus equals 1.0. Boom. So now we just kind of do that on both rect1 and rect2, and we set the mouse pause if we get a mouse update. Fuck. We do have to do else do nothing, else I don't give a fuck. And let's do that. Fuck. I guess that means that these need to be variable because they are being modified by the input state handling. And 187, he's like, I don't have x and y, I'm a fucking vector. So this is 0 and 1 like this. Fuck! Does not support indexing? What the fuck is this thing? Oh, it is x and y. I'm a fucking dumbass. Wait, so what's he pissed about? 187? Yeah, what the fuck? Am I? Oh. Float, int from float. My bad. My bad. All right. So that's good. So now we're seeing that the mouse can like interact with this thing in some way. Why is that happening? What the fuck? That's weird. I don't know what's causing that. Where's like yellow coming from? Oh, it's coming from our initial clear here. That's funny. That's funny. So, shouldn't this be clearing the entire window actually? Why is that not happening? Oh, because we didn't change the scissor. This scissor needs to fill the whole world as well. There we go. Much better. That makes way more sense. Okay. So, um, that's cool. So, I think that we need to like add a second widget type to really make this make sense, right? Like for us to be able to experiment with the idea of multiple widgets, we need to make a second widget. So can we make a widget that's like draws a triangle on the screen? I think that's probably like one of the simplest things we can do. Triangle. So can we just be like chat GPT triangle chat GPT. Let's go here and say like can you give me a simple hello triangle example in OpenGL? Yeah, we'll just see what he says. Hurry up, 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 hurry up. Actually, can you do it in Zig? Can you do it in Zig where GL functions are prefixed with GL dot? Okay, here we go. Vertex shader source. He's like, give me a fucking vec3 position. Seems reasonable to me. Why can't I dude, if you're just here to fucking write code, why the fuck can't I select the code? Oh my god, that was frustrating. Okay. Here is our vertex shader. We go like this. Dude, he's so bad at fucking. Oh my god, he's so dumb, dude. Okay, like this ish, sure. Why is this? Oh, he doesn't know how to do raw strings. That's why he's a dumbass. Okay, so we get our vertex shader source. We have our fragment shader source, which is going to be similar. He again doesn't know how to fucking do raw strings. He got close. He's a dumbass. Okay, boom, boom, and then s dot dot like that. Okay, and then what I'm looking for is like generation of vertices. Nice. What is he fucking angry about now? Expected type expression found. Bracket? Oh, I did this wrong. Expected EOF found bracket. There we go. Okay, there we go. And he creates some vertex arrays. He's so stupid, dude. Oh, he's so fucking dumb. All right, this is basically what I'm looking for, though. Both shaders need a closing bracket. That's true. Thank you. And then here, he got confused by the prefix of GL. So all of these guys we need to do like insert a GL and yeah, like this. Oh my god. I don't know if this is better or worse than you know, me having to do it myself. But uh this is supposed to be like what AI is for, right? Like it's supposed to be like here is this like simple pattern that you need to change. Could you do it right for me? And it's just like, no. Fuck you. But the rest of this is like it's like an intern. Yeah, but like he's not even doing that right. Oh, this is I see. GL compile. He had compile shader and link shader as like separate programs. Sure, whatever. We'll do that. We can do that. So this is compile shader like this, and then this is like link program. So this thing needs these change. Oh Jesus Christ! GL shader, GL compile shader. Does GL compile status exist? Yeah, it does. Okay. Yeah, this stuff all looks kind of right for the most part. It is nice that he did this for me. What a nice guy. Return undefined is crazy. Then he creates the program, attaches shaders, links the program, checks for success. It is nice that he's checking for success for me. I usually just skip that part, and then it's annoying later. Okay, so that seems pretty reasonable. Then he like creates the vertex attribute array, and then we need to like stash that shit, I guess. So we'll stash our vertex buffer. We'll call it VBO, which is it a uint? Yeah. And we'll stash the array object. It's better because this way Microsoft can make more money by charging for the inference. Line must go up. You're welcome. Perfect. I mean, if they want the line to go up, then they should do a better job, right? I don't actually think that's it. I think it's just that, like, we're not there. Does any of that code actually work? What's undefined? Undefined is like just like whatever the fuck you feel. Like it's like whatever Zig feels like. So either like stack memory or 0xAA in debug mode. But I think that, like, I mean, I know what I want, so kind of like skimming this code, it looks like what I'm looking for. So it's fine. On render, we're gonna take in ourself as a triangle. And I guess here we are going to try to draw it at this location. So I think probably doing like the same scissor and viewport thing makes sense. Just instead of clearing, we want to call our program. I think that makes sense. So it's like GL draw arrays is going to be somewhere in here. GL draw arrays. Here we go. So I guess we have to use our program too, right? Surely. GL use program of self program, which means that we have to stash that program somewhere. Program. What is the type of a program? Output link program, GL uint. And then here we go, like, program is equal shader program. Okay. Sure. I'm on like 25% this will do what I want. Triangle is triangle in it. And I guess we forgot to do anything related to like the cursor positioning and stuff. So we probably need to do that as well. Like we need to kind of keep in our X, Y, width, and height, kind of like the same way we did in the rectangle. And then here we probably want to take in like the cursor and the width and the height as well. Right, we kind of want to do something like this. We don't care about color right now, and then we just say width equal width, height is equal to height. We have the X position is from the cursor, and the pause Y is from the cursor Y as well. And then here we defer Y plus equals height, right? Cursor Y plus equals height. Okay. So then we need to render the triangle with the height as well. And then init needs like cursor 100, 100 or something. Like, let's just try to draw a triangle somewhere. Fuck. Triangle render. Does he think that, oh, does triangle init like potentially fail? Yeah, but it shouldn't. There's no reason for that. And triangle init does need to return a triangle, actually. That's a really good point as well. Type of size of vertices, expected type found 32. Okay, so it's just a fucking dumbass again. So this is vertices len times 4, I think. I think GL buffer data takes in the size in bytes. I think. Size in bytes, yeah. So this is floating point, so seems reasonable. And then vertices.pointer is actually like this, because I don't fucking know how to use language. Expected U8 found bull. God damn it, dude. This is a GL false. Fucking dumbass, dude. And then GL triangles doesn't exist. Why did I ever trust him? Is this even better than doing it myself? Probably, but it's not that much better. Not sure when Return undefined would ever be correct. Yeah, it seems pretty fucking bad. I think it's pretty bad. I agree. But I also am not willing to fix it. Oh my god, dude. Uh, wait, why is this wrong actually? Because the source is source pointer now. And then shader source, he takes in a reference to this thing, which means that this thing needs to be like null terminated. GL shader info log, he's just like, dude, why? You're so fucking stupid. Also return undefined is crazy. We'll return error here. Compile, and then we just won't fucking do this. Link. It's fine. It's fine. We'll see how fucking. There's also no GL dot false. It's like, what's your purpose? And then what are we missing here? This thing needs to return failure now too, because the compiling and linking the shader can fail, which means that this needs to write try like this. Okay. Please. God. Okay, wait, that's not so bad though. We do get a triangle down here. And if we try to do 2 triangles, do we get a second one? We sure do. Look at that. Okay. So that's a good sign. We have like a shader thing that can run. And now we can start looking at these 2 things and being like, what is like different about what is like the different and what is the same between them, right? Well, we know we have like input handling for one. We probably will generically have input handling for all widgets. That seems pretty likely. We know that we have like render functions for both of them. They are taking in the height of the window. I think that probably within these render functions, we are kind of scissoring and viewporting to like a certain size. I think it probably makes sense for like whatever layout abstraction that we're using to do that for us, right? We can kind of have some sort of like container of stuff, right? And he can probably like inform these things of like input events when they're selected, right? As well as like where they're allowed to render. And then if he does this for them, that means that they can just kind of assume that their like GL space is -1 to 1, which has been like a convenient space to work in for us in other places. So I think that kind of makes sense. I think that makes sense. So now the question becomes like, how do we like turn these like concrete types into like something that can be used by a generic thing? Well, we're probably gonna have to have some sort of like widget, right? And presumably this widget is gonna have like some sort of like vtable, right? And he's how does like the allocator do this? He uses the vtable as a pointer to a constant vtable, right? So these things compile time make one vtable and they pass it on. So we can do that. So we can be like, here is our vtable, and in our vtable, we're gonna have a function render. That takes in a context. And I guess this is does this need to be a function pointer? Probably does. And returns void, probably, I think is fine. What do they do in the Zig allocator here? Yeah, these are all pointers. That makes sense. So our vtable is gonna have like a pointer here. Why do I hate OpenGL as much as Vertex? Dude, that's not that unreasonable. Not that unreasonable. Okay, and then we're gonna like abstract away this render function to say like, hey, I am a widget. And if you want to render me, I'll call self vtable render with self context, which means we need to provide those things, right? So we're gonna say context is a any opaque, and the vtable is a constant pointer to a vtable. Okay. Makes sense so far. Makes sense so far. We're gonna have some sort of like layout thing. And presumably this is gonna kind of like own the cursor. That kind of makes sense to me. As well as like widgets, right? That kind of makes sense as well. So he's gonna have like an array list of widget, I guess, right? That seems pretty likely to be the case. Now, The question is, where is like the widget going to live in memory? Right? Like we could kind of have a widget function on everything we create. So we could like create all of our widgets on the stack, then feed them into this thing. But that would make it hard if you wanted to do stuff like um, function like layout this thing, right? And he takes in like a layout like this, right? We might want to like make buttons in here, right? Make button feed to layout. That would be kind of convenient and reasonable, I think. Um, which makes me think that like this should own the widgets. I think that's pretty reasonable. Or, I mean, we could like return like things we care about, right? Oh, I guess it would have to be like everything. Yeah, that's not convenient. Not convenient. Okay. So instead, let's just make it for now so that when we initialize these things, they just return widgets, like widget pointers. And maybe we could put like a dinit function on here, right? But maybe what we do for now is we just like kind of assume that all of these things will be leaky. That seems pretty reasonable. Yeah, let's kind of start there. So let's say that like we'll make a rectangle and this thing will return a widget pointer, right? And maybe he will take in some sort of like frame allocator. Like this is like supposed to be short-lived. And he's going to be like, he still has all of this state that he wants. So he's going to be like, okay, let me make one of those. Boom. Let me allocate a rectangle. Yeah. And I guess this is a create, not allocate. Okay, so rect is this. Then we do kind of like rect.star is equal to this stuff that we did down here. And then we need to return like the widget that's associated with him. So we're going to be like, oh no, this doesn't return a pointer to the widget. This just returns a widget. And now we put the widget, I guess we can just do this here. We'll be like, return, the context is us, right? That's fine. But the v table is going to be our like rect v table, I guess, widget v table. And here we can have like a widget v table is a widget v table. And all he has right now is a render function. And that's gonna be rect render. And then our rect render is just gonna look like this. So he's gonna have like a context, any opaque. This stuff goes away. I guess we're gonna have to like put this somewhere, so we're gonna comment this out for a second. And here we can just be like, const self is equal to pointer cast align cast of context, and this is a rect pointer, and then we have this stuff. Chill. Okay. So I guess when we create this thing, we're gonna want to like put it into the layout, and the layout is gonna have some sort of like global render function, right? So he's gonna be like, for each widget, he is going to, well, we said that he was going to be in charge of like setting the correct viewport here, which is kind of interesting, right? Which kind of means that like these widgets need like their bounding box as well, right? That's kind of what this means. Have you tried using Vulkan? I think that I don't really need the level of like control that Vulkan gives you, and I think that it comes at the cost of a lot of complexity. So I haven't really given it a shot yet. So maybe we're gonna have like it's like bounds as a pixel b-box or something. Okay, that seems reasonable. And he's gonna have like a left and I32 right, top, bottom. Okay. And then that just means that here we can now say that these things are layout items. And this thing's gonna have like a widget here. Okay, nice, 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 nice. And this is gonna be like item now. And this is gonna be items instead of widgets. Okay. And this is actually items, which is kind of weird. I don't know how much I like that. But now he can look at this and say like item left here. Then he can be like item here, and this takes in the window height. Like this, and then we can do like minus self dot top. Is that right? Yes. Bottom. Bottom, 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 bottom. Okay, and then the width and the height are still what it is. So this is going to be item right minus item left, like this. And the height is item bottom minus item top. Because these are supposed to be relative to the top right to the top left. I think that makes sense. And this is going to call like item widget render after. Seems pretty reasonable. So then we're going to be like, give me some layout. Okay. And we're going to have to like push a widget here, right? Okay. So we're going to be like, give me this thing that has a widget. And does the widget like who owns the bounds of the widget right now? Like kind of the widget itself does, right? So maybe the widget has like a function to like get bounds. I'm not sure if that's like unreasonable. So we could either do it up front, or we could have a function that he can like use to extract the information. This feels like kind of harder to fuck up in terms of like usage of the layout. Yeah, it's fine probably. Well, I kind of want the layout to be the owner of the bounds of this thing, right? It kind of makes sense. So maybe what happens is the widget tells us how big it wants to be. And then we just put it wherever we are. That seems kind of more reasonable. So we can be like, the widget has like a size function. Ooh, but like I guess the size could depend on the cursor, right? Say we have like a window, right? And we are trying to like fill the window with some rectangle. Then like the width of this thing depends on like what the available width is. So maybe like the rectangle getting passed in the cursor makes sense. The cursor maybe has like an available size remaining, maybe that would work. And then we could, yeah, the rectangle like knows where he wants to be. Yeah, I don't see it. That seems fine. Which means that we could get like bounds here, which takes in a context and returns a pixel b box. And then this is like self items append widget with the alligator. In which case this layout item doesn't need to exist anymore. This is just a widget again. Okay. And now it's just like const bounds is widget get bounds, which means that this has to be called get bounds or something. Get bounds returns a pixel b box. Oopsies. Bounds. And it just calls like get bounds with context. That seems reasonably so far. Seems reasonable so far. And then this where we see like s item bounds. Okay, and then this is widget render like this. Seems fine. Okay, so now that means that our rectangle needs to return some bounds. Right, so you need to have like get bounds is equal to rect get bounds like this, right? And that means that we need some sort of get bounds function. Get bounds pixel bbox, and this is literally just going to be like where are things? Pause x, pause y, width and height. I mean, we could maybe just store ourselves as a bbox, right? Is there any reason not to? Because like our render function doesn't even use that shit anymore. So we could just like do this. And then here we have like bbox is equal to this stuff. And this is like left, top, right, bottom. Yeah, that seems reasonable. Seems reasonable. So then we want to be like, okay, make me some rectangles and like append these to this thing. Okay, and these need to come from like the layout cursor. Okay, and then here we call like layout render. Okay, seems maybe like it would work. Missing field cursor, so the layout needs some sort of like default initialized cursor. Sure. And then rect init is mad because he expects an extra argument now, an allocator. And I guess we actually kind of want like a frame allocator. Arena is equal to stood heap arena allocator because we said that we weren't going to free stuff. Maybe we'll regret that later, but whatever. Bar const frame alloc is arena allocator like this, and then every iteration of the loop will just reset the allocator. Reset. Sure, and then we'll pass in the frame allocator here. Sure. Sure. What's going on here? Push widget. This also needs the frame allocator. And then items is mad because 359, he's like, items doesn't exist. True. Okay, push widget is mad because I forgot the frame allocator here. Render needs the window width. Okay. And then this is frame alloc create rect. What the fuck? Oh, here, because this thing can fail. I see. I see. That makes sense. Okay, so now he's mad about like expected. Oh, the widget vtable needs to put a little ampersand from because it's a pointer to the vtable. That makes sense. And then there's no bottom in layout. That's true. Should be bounds here. And there we go. Okay, so we have our two rectangles there now. And then let's try to make our triangle a generic widget as well. So our triangle will also be like, okay, here, I'm a widget now. And my V table will have where the fuck I am? Triangle. Triangle here and here. Which means that my render is gonna be like this. This takes in a context of any opaque. And then he's like, const self is a pointer cast, a line cast of context, boom, and myself is a triangle pointer chillin, and then we just need pub function get bounds as well, right? Which returns a pixel bounding box. And presumably we just do the same shit here where we store the bounding box like this, and here we return self bbox after converting ourselves to a triangle, and then that means here we just need to say that our bbox is equal to whatever the fuck we want. So this is left, top, right, bottom. Okay, there we go. So now we should get our triangle. Well, we do need to use the triangle, huh? So const triangle is equal to do this, I guess. Like this. Oh, this thing needs to return the widget here as well, which he isn't doing anymore. So we need to be like frame allocator is an allocator. He says triangle try frame alloc dot create a triangle. Boom. He says triangle is equal to this thing, and then he says return v table is widget v table, and context is equal to us. Okay, which he's mad about because 433 is this comes from layout cursor now, and we pass in the frame allocator here as well. And then we need to add these things to layout. Okay. Okay. Seems reasonable so far. Seems reasonable so far. And can we like maybe do something like bring back input events? Bring back input events. So we're gonna want to like handle some sort of input on this thing. Presumably we're gonna want to pass in the like height of the window again, because any conversion. No, our pixel space is like the same. Window coordinates are already from top left, I'm pretty sure. So here, maybe we want to do like something where as we rip the like queue of input events, we literally can like feed those into our layout. That seems reasonable to me. And in the layout then, we're going to have like handle input, which takes itself layout, as well as our like input event, which I don't know what the type is. Window action sounds likely. So here, we're going to be like, if the mouse moved, let's look over all of our widgets. Okay. This will maybe change in the future, but this is kind of okay for now. And we'll say like, for each widget in here, let's tell it the mouse position or something. So here we'll just say like, I guess we'll first check if it's in the bounds. So we'll go like widget bounds is widget get bounds like this. And if the position is within the bounds, then we pass it along. Seems kind of reasonable. So we'll say this is widget bounds left and widget bounds right. Okay. And this is widget bounds top and widget bounds bottom. Okay. And if that is true, then we call like widget, I don't know. We could say that it's hovered, or we could tell it the mouse position. Probably we want to tell it the mouse position. We can say that we're hovering at this position. Unless the mouse is clicked, then we'll tell them we clicked at that position. Oh, that seems reasonable to me for now. For now. We can always change our minds later. We can always change our minds later. So now let's give us a little bit of like a hover. Okay. And I think that we're going to make that one optional. That seems reasonable to me, right? We can say, hey, if you have hovering that you want to like account for, you know, you can do that if you want, but you don't have to. Okay. So we're like, here's an X position and a Y position. And we'll say if self vtable dot hover. I don't know why I copy pasted the existing function because we're not really using this in any way, shape, or form, but it is what it is. And then on our rectangle, we can be like, all right, give me some fucking hover, baby. So where is this? On our widget vtable, we have a hover function. We copy paste this over here. And this takes in our context, X and Y, chill. And then we do our little conversion here, and we say if, I guess we discard X and Y. We don't actually care about the positions yet. We will in the future, probably if we make like check marks or something. Maybe we actually never will. We might be over engineering right now, but you know, whatever. Okay. Okay, fuck. Missing vtable hover. So can we do like, did I forget to write equals null here? I did. Okay. So nothing's happening because we probably have to actually call, we do call layout handle input. Oh, interesting. So what is happening here? I would have expected this to work. But it's not. It's not. So why the fuck not? Let's see if we have hovering, you know, smile. Okay, so that is happening. Oh, but maybe it's because we're doing it after we render. If we did it before we render, does it behave differently? Aha, it does. And interestingly, since we are only getting like input events here, we actually probably want to do like something that's more like we in our layout store the last seen mouse pause, right? And then here we update the mouse pause, and then at the end we dispatch input like this, right? And here is where we would go like this. And just instead of using pause here, we use self mouse pause. That seems pretty reasonable. So here we just say like mouse pause equals pause, boom. And then at the end of all this, we need to call like self dispatch input like this. So maybe we kind of do like this. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. Its default mouse position is just gonna be like x equals 0, y equals 0, I guess. Okay. He's still only changing when I move, which I don't like. I really would have thought that would be fixed. Right? Because here, whether or not we're moving, we should be calling hover on the thing. I would think. Stood debug print hovering smile. Okay. Huh. Are we rendering at all? Dispatching. It does seem like it. So why is our mouse pause wrong here? Well, not necessarily wrong, but definitely not going where we want it to go. Oh, because our layout has to be persistent. Oh. Right, we're reconstructing the layout every frame. So we actually kind of want this thing to live out here. And does it make sense for him to kind of like live over time? Maybe not. Maybe our input state kind of stays somewhere else. Okay. I don't know, I'm spitballing. We'll kind of figure out how this makes sense later, right? But now our input state is the one who handles the input, right? And then we dispatch input with a given input state. That seems reasonable for now. I'm sure later I might feel differently, but for now, this seems reasonable. Okay. So here we're gonna have like var input state is an input state. Okay. Fuck. Input state doesn't have a member handle input because this has to be input state here. And that looks a little better. That definitely feels better. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's pretty sick. I think that we have probably found some form of widget abstraction. It seems like pretty reasonable so far. What I do want to do though is I want to look and see if we can kind of like send input events from widget to app, right? So it's like the workflow that I've kind of settled upon that immediate GUIs like kind of like facilitate but aren't really like super geared towards is actually we can kind of show it here. In our like default main thing, what happens is like I feed IamGUI like a read-only version of my app state. And when a button is clicked, I say, hey, like if this thing changed, I would like the app to do this update, right? So we kind of like send out like some sort of like action as a return from this thing. As we say, hey, like could we update the object name because like, you know, somebody changed the text box, right? And then what happens is in like our main loop, I just say like, hey, if we had some action, like call this function essentially, right? I kind of feel like that's how I want to build like my GUI framework. So it would be kind of nice if like a widget could be like, I want this thing to happen on hover. So maybe instead of the color being owned by the widget right now, maybe it tells the app somehow that something changed, right? So it can be like somewhere we're gonna have like you know, UI action. And right now this is just literally gonna be like update color, right? Set color hovered. Which means that like this color now is going to kind of be as like come from like a view into our like general app state, right? So here we're gonna have like, you know, we're gonna have like rect colors, and we're gonna have like 2 rectangles, and each one is gonna have a color, right? And here we're gonna be like, okay, so somebody like hovers this thing, can you change the color? Seems reasonable, right? And theoretically, this could be an interface where they tell us exactly what color they want, or they can just tell us that they're hovered. Either way, um, sure. So I guess that means here we're going to be like this index in our application. What the fuck? Hello? Oh, wrong button. This index in our application, what is hovered? Yeah. Uh, yeah. So when we change state, maybe we'll say maybe we'll do it on click because I think that kind of mirrors everything else a little better. So we'll say change color. Okay. At this index. And here we'll just say that like if self rect colors at idx red is greater than 0.5, we like set the red color red channel to 0. Otherwise we set to 1, right? That's going to be our like thing. So every time we click on the rectangle, it changes color. Sure. That seems reasonable. So the UI now has to say, maybe like instead of hover here on the rectangle, we'll have click. Okay. And in this case, he is going to emit some sort of like app event. What do we call it? UI action. Okay. And so here he's going to be like, I guess in this widget, we can store what the action would be. Click action like this, right? Yeah, because the UI action needs to stash the index that this rectangle is for. So we can say like, hey, here's a rectangle, and when you click, do this fucking thing. Yeah, so we have like a union, that says like, hey, change color of this index. Oh, yeah. So then when we like initialize this thing, we say like, hey, when you click, here is your click action. Remember that shit. And here he's just like, okay, sure. Here's my click action. And then when he calls click, he just returns that thing. Oh, yeah, that feels pretty good. That feels pretty good. Okay, so our widget thing needs a click function now. Our like vtable, he needs to have like a click. Oh, which is just going to look a lot like hover. But this thing now returns a UI action like this. Okay, and then when we handle our input state, we might say like input changes, right? So I guess like if we have like mouse down, I assume that's one of our actions here. We make a mouse down, yeah. We'll just say like we have some sort of like frame actions, and we'll say click as well as released. That's unusual. So we have this, we say like, oh yeah. Var frame action is equal to frame action. Everything here starts default false, so nothing happens by default, but then we're like, okay, if the mouse went down, frame action dot clicked is equal to true. And if the mouse was released, we have released is true as well, right? So then we call like our frame and we call this. I guess this should be handle inputs now, and we're going to pass in like the queue here instead. Yeah. So this is gonna be handle inputs with glfw q, probably as a pointer, and so this is gonna take in some sort of like q of, I don't know, glfw q is fine for now. This will have to, like, you know, the types need to be decoupled here, but this is fine for now. You can say while q read item action, boom boom. Yep. Yep, that seems reasonable. Okay. Because then we can say layout dispatch inputs with frame actions. Boom. And then I guess that means that frame action goes here. And here we can say like if frame action clicked, we call widget click on that thing. Okay. Chill. Okay, this thing returns some UI actions, right? And I guess we say like var ret is equal to this is equal to null, I guess. So he's gonna be like, by default, nothing happens, right? He returns ret, and I guess we're just like literally ret equals this, right? Which means that this has to do this, which means this has to return this. Oopsies, this is wrong one. Okay. And this should be click, click, click. We'll call it C so that doesn't fucking clobber. Oh my god. V. Call it value. V for value. Okay, so then on our rectangle click function, this also needs to be a nullable thing. No, because he only is called on click, actually. So that's not nullable. I'm a dumbass. I'm a dumbass. Yeah, just like this. Cool. I guess theoretically, you could have like a click handler that like decides based off some state if it does something. So we might want to bring back the nullable later, but it's fine for now. Okay, so now we can kind of say that we have like this action, right? And this action's like, what are our action options here? Change color. So we literally have like one option. And here we need to be like app change color at IDX, right? That's what we said. Which means that we need our app, we need an app. Right? We'll set our like colors to match the rectangle colors that we have right now. Right? So we have like colors is equal to this, boom, 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 boom. And then we kind of delete till this on both lines. Okay, so we have our initial rect colors. And so that means that here we kind of say that like for each rectangle in our application, we have some color and we want to inject that into our layout like this. Oh, that feels pretty good. That feels pretty good. If this works. What is this pissed about? He expects, oh, click action. So here, we're gonna look at the index here. And we're gonna say like, if this thing is clicked, give me a change color at this index. $522 is pissed because true. If action, switch on the action. I guess it makes more sense, actually, for our UI action, just have a none. That makes everything cleaner, I think. Oh, geez. Okay, so frame action stuff needs to get returned like this. Then we have 524 needs to say none, do nothing. Then we need like 457 to say return ret. It's true, it's not fucking Rust. We have to do what we asked for. And then 391 or whatever the fuck this was needs to return this thing. Otherwise, we return none. Okay. Yeah. Look at that. That's pretty slick. That's pretty slick. So now we have a way to um have a widgets request that the app does some stuff, which is pretty sick. And then we relay out every frame. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay. Let's try to like make that like generic in some way. Right? Like so our UI events should be generic. Right? So we want to make it so that like this GUI can be like used in different contexts. So we just basically take that like UI action and everything that like might return one now just gets parameterized, right? So we have like, well, first of all, let's git status, git add source main. Let's go GUI. We'll do a little commit GUI whip GUI checkpoint. We're definitely getting somewhere interesting. Right? So this thing takes in a action type, which is a type, and returns a type. And this just becomes like return this thing, const self is equal to this. Everywhere we say rect in this thing, we now have to say this, or self, sorry. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. And then this thing is action type now. Everything where it says UI action is action type. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, and then I think that widgets also need to be action types. Like pretty much everyone here, other than like this usage of this thing, need to have action type, which means that like this thing needs to have like an action type as well. Right? Const self is equal to this, and then everywhere that says layout here needs to say self. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And I guess input state does not. Input state is very like generic, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, so now we need like layout of UI action here. Rect needs to be of UI action like this. Okay. And then I guess our widget needs to be kind of parameterized as well, which is kind of weird. Yeah, I guess so. Which means that like even widgets that have no actions associated with them do need the widget action type to be kind of baked in. That's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. I don't know if I like it, but whatever. We'll see. Okay. So this gets the action type here as well, which means it gets it here as well. Okay, so triangle in it here needs like the widget type. But he doesn't actually need this to be used anywhere internally because it's just like only used for generation of the widget. So here we just put like UI action here and here. Oopsies, zig build. Okay, 197 is pissed because this thing needs a action type as well. And then vtable at 191. All of these widgets need like an action type. I see. Okay, so maybe like this actually gets put here, which is kind of weird. Oopsies. I don't know if this is like, surely this constant, even though it's in a function, gets a long-term address. Surely, right? Surely. Seems reasonable. Seems like everything's working. Seems like everything's working. And yeah, as far as I can tell, there's no like generic. There's like everything's like generic now. I don't think that there's anything specific in here. I guess the input state is kind of like using GLFW FIFO. So maybe window action and stuff. We just kind of move the definition of this FIFO out of GLFW and into the input state, right? Then GLFW, our GLFW abstraction knows that he's sending stuff into our input state, but that's fine. That's like an okay like direction of like ownership or whatever you want to call it. All right, that's pretty fucking sick. Did I fuck anything else up? 126. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay. So can we like just like start making our like making widgets? Like say we wanted to make some sort of like text widget, right? Let's try to write some text on the screen. Okay. Text widget. Maybe we call it a label. Maybe we call it a label. So this is gonna return some sort of like type, right? And this struct is gonna look similar to like our rectangle struct, right? So we're gonna keep our bounding box. We're gonna have like some stuff that we might do. I don't know, man. We'll find out. So here we probably don't care about like any actions, right? This thing's just gonna like display some text. We are going to work on some cursor location, and we are gonna have to like, I guess instead of passing in a width and a height, we're gonna pass in like some text content, right? We have no like actions that we need to worry about, okay? And so what's gonna happen here? What's gonna happen here? We have a text renderer somewhere. Text renderer. Okay. So this guy needs to be initialized with this stuff. So presumably we will initialize him with that stuff, right? So text renderer init. And that seems reasonable. We actually might actually want to share a text renderer between these things. I think we will. Because this text renderer basically supports like a glyph atlas. Like he basically like takes characters, puts them in this like texture, and then samples from that texture later. So in reality, like this thing can be like a long-term thing. So maybe he kind of lives outside. We'll find out. We'll figure it out. This guy gets our frame allocator, and our point size is going to be I don't know, 16. So text renderer is like this, and we're gonna like ask it to lay out some text given our frame allocator, as well as the text that we want to lay out, as well as a text a TTF abstraction that we're using. Okay, so that means we need like our TTF mod here. Okay. And what else is thing taken? Distance field renderer. Okay. I wonder. I kind of feel like the distance field renderer should live inside the text renderer. That just kind of like is where it makes sense, but that doesn't like isn't how it works right now. So we'll get there. I guess probably. I don't know. Okay. So we get like some sort of like laid out text, right? And what does he give us? He gives us a text layout. Okay. What's in this thing? What is in this thing? Pixel positions of each glyph relative to the width and height. So the width and height is really all we care about right now. So here we're going to say that the cursor x, y plus equals the text layout dot height, right? That seems reasonable. That seems reasonable to me. Okay. Then what? Presumably we have to like stash some shit. Stash some shit. Stash some shit. Fuck, tongue twisters are hard, man. Stash some shit. Say stash some shit 5 times fast. Stash some shit. 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 Fuck, that's hard. Holy. We have to stash some shit. Dude, my brain, it's like I have like an aneurysm. I have no idea what we were talking about before I started doing that. We have to, well, we have to stash some shit. That's clearly we must. That's what we were talking about. I guess we probably use the renderer to like make a text buffer that we use for later. Text layout, and then we are going to use those when we actually want to render it. Okay. Is that what this was? Text buffer? Yeah. Okay. So I guess that just means we probably have to like air defer some shit here. Text layout, dnit, alloc probably. And same with the buffer. I think that this doesn't take any parameters on dnit. I think it's like all OpenGL stuff. Yep. And then here we're like return. And what do we return? We have like our bounding box. I wonder, do you think it makes more sense for the bounding box to just like live in the widget? Like if the bounding box is only for layout purposes? Oh no, it's also for like mouse hit testing as well. Sure, okay, it's fine, it's fine. It's fine. So here we're gonna have like our layout has like a width pixel here. So we have like the cursor X. Left is cursor X. Right is cursor X plus this. Top is the cursor Y. And the bottom is cursor.y plus text layout.height. Okay. Seems reasonable. We don't need a click action. We're not doing that shit. We don't need a color. But we do need to stash the buffer, which is a text renderer buffer. Boom. As well as a layout. Do we need the layout? I think we might not need the layout. I think we might have, like, the layout is only used for, like, our packaging of the pixel dimensions and, like, the making the buffer for rendering. But once we have that buffer, I think we're kind of fucking chilling. So here we need some sort of render function, which takes in a context and probably returns void. And he's just going to call, like, I guess here we, like, stash the text renderer. And I think that I want this thing to live outside. I'm pretty sure. So here we'll take in the text renderer, like, here. And here will be, like, I guess we'll call it text renderer. So that means that this thing is, like, a long-lived thing that lives up here. With our allocator and defer alloc dnit. Text renderer dnit with our allocator. Boom. Okay. And buffer is equal buff text buffer and text renderer is equal text renderer. Okay. So now we're like on render, we're like, yo, I exist for sure. And I am a label self, I guess. And please make me out of your context. Okay, and then I'm going to just take my self text renderer and I'm literally just going to render it with my buffer. And I need some sort of transformation that I want to apply. And I guess in the context of the text renderer, like since we've kind of like packaged our GL viewport to fill wherever we asked for, I think we can literally just call like a default transform. I think we can just call like transform identity. I think if we were rendering our label inside a button or something, we would have to do some sort of like finagling there. But I don't think that's the case here. I do not think that's the case here. And so now we just have like our get bounds function as well. Okay. And he returns a pixel bbox. And it's just like return self bounds. Yeah, right? Or bbox maybe is what we called it. Yeah. Okay, so that compiles. I don't think we actually made the label yet. So can we like do something that's like, okay, let's create a label. So this is our triangle, right? He's so pretty. Do we like him? We like him. So we're gonna say like, I gotta shut the fuck up. I guess like our label again. He doesn't really store the action here, so really this can actually just be a structure, kind of like this. What is it called? A label. Okay, and then here we were like, instead we just take in the action type here. There we go. So now we can be like, okay, let's make a label with our for UI actions, and here is some stuff. I don't know yet. Okay, so he takes in an action type, a frame allocator, a text renderer, a cursor. And then some text. Triangle smile. And a TTF and a distance field renderer. Okay, so we need to make our distance field renderer is going to be like renderer distance field generator init, like this. Okay. And then what? We need a font file. So embed file of res hack regular TTF. I guess we'll do it this way for now. Okay. We'll say this font data is this, and then can we do like TTF mod, TTF, initialize with alloc and font data, defer, TTF, dnit. This probably needs to be tried. Okay. So now we should be able to pass that shit in. Okay, and then the cursor comes from layout cursor. Okay, and frame, alloc, and triangle label. All right, we're close. Action type 492. Oh, right, this table, v table needs to be defined like here now. And I guess we actually do need to, we fucked up. Instead of returning this, I actually need this to be, this is our label. So this is gonna be like a frame alloc create label. Then we go like label.star is equal to whatever the fuck we typed here, and then we return the widget, which is context is equal to pointer cast of label, and then the v table comes from our widget v table. Huzzah! Okay, close. 574 is pissed about something. Probably this needs to be variable for that dnit to work correctly. Distance field renderer is actually, I think, distance field generator. Oops. All right. And then cursor y plus equals text layout height pixels. So can we just incast that shit? For now, okay. And again, some of that shit. Can I just do a little incasties here? Okay. Okay. I hate doing this way, but you know. We're in prototype mode. It's fine. Push widget doesn't exist because I forgot a capital W in widget. True. And then area units is started at 533. Oh, interesting. I guess we'll just ignore it for now. Fuck. Okay, what's it pissed off about? So this is segmentation fault. Oh, probably because the label actually needs to use like the persistent allocator. Yeah, that's kind of bad. Because he probably interacts with the like labeled stuff in a way that is a problem. Yeah, it's down here. It's like we'll kind of do this, I guess. So this doesn't take a frame allocator. This takes like a long-lived allocator. Although some of these things could be frame allocated, I guess. And then here we just have like function dinit takes in a widget. Oh, that's weird. That's not good at all. That's very strange. Yeah, that's very strange. Self buffer dinit. Yeah, that's strange. Very strange. We'll have to think about that. I'm not sure how I want this to be, but then we say like self. We need to take in our like allocator as well. Alloc destroy self. Yeah, all right. I don't know. That's fucking weird. And then can we also like put like the font size in here? Oh, the font size comes from here actually, which we have at 16. Which is kind of strange. Oh, maybe I'm actually kind of surprised that it looks so big. What's it pissed about here? Type found type. Oh, here he needs any type, I guess. Because the widget has depends on the UI action. Makes sense. Okay. Do this. Okay. Yeah, that hello world looks very fat. Very fat. Which makes me think that our text renderer is probably just like converting him to this parameter is probably wrong. Let's just like kind of crank that shit up and let me double check. Very strange. Very strange. Can we crank up the size of the pixels for now? How do we do that? Text renderer. Like 64. Let's make them like big, you know? Let's make them big. Is the multiplier the wrong way? The multiplier, I think, is like how we generate our text as like distance fields. And then we like apply a fall off to the distance field. And I was under the impression that the multiplier here, bigger is better, I think. Like the bigger the number is, if this is really big, n becomes really small, which means that this divisor gets really small, which means this gets really big, which means it gets to 1.0 alpha faster. I think that's right. So can we just like crank this to like 10,000? Like let's just make it really big just to see what happens. It's supposed to be like the crispiness of the edges. Yeah, something about this is very wrong. Oh, I wonder if we're supposed to clear it first. What happens if we do that? Uh, GL color buffer bit. Let's see what happens if we do that. Interesting. Interesting. So if I make this thing a different color, what happens? Okay, so just kind of like is like constant that color. Can we just like draw out the distance field? Like what is happening here? It could be that we're like, we could be accidentally like freeing some memory that we're not supposed to a little early. What happens if we do that? What happens if we do that? I would like to zoom in here a little bit. Enhance? Enhance? It does look like there are distance fields in there, but they're coming from like the wrong spots. Kind of feels that way. Feels that way. So what's happening there? We have this long-lived text renderer. Can we just render the fucking glyph atlas instead? Like, can we just like kind of full screen render what is like the easiest way to do that? Oh, I don't think it's really easy. Fuck. Okay, so here we're like, give me this label. This label is initialized. We have some. Oh. Wait, the text layout D in it. I think that's fine because this text buffer comes with a text layout. I don't see a problem there. And I guess the text buffer is sane because the shape of whatever we're writing is like staying there, which means that like the indexes into like the planes, like the vertices are in the right spot. It's the colors of what we're pulling out. Can we write like hello here? Just so that we have like an idea of what the shape should be. Okay. I forgot to go back into the text renderer. Can we just do like 1.0, 1.0, 1.0, 1.0? Let's just see what that looks like. No, I mean, that's not good. That's definitely not good. But we also stopped. Yeah, so label init. On render, we call text renderer render. I guess there could be an error here, but I don't think there should be. Failed to render because of this. I don't think that's happening, but we could check. Nope, no dice. And then that's kind of interesting. Definitely interesting. So let's not DNet anything right now, just to make sure that we're not making a mistake. Yeah, it seems fine. And it's very suspicious. Very suspicious that us saying, please render this thing full white is doing jack shit. Very suspicious indeed. Sorry, we're just thinking. We're thinking. I guess here. I mean, our clear could be fucking stuff up as well. I doubt it, but we could check. Yeah, so now there's nothing's happening. That's great. So how does this work? We lay out some text. We make a text buffer. This text buffer goes, let me upload some data to GPU. And let me sample from the atlas. So it's possible that the atlas is getting fucked up. Text renderer. We do stash the text render here, and the text renderer should be as alive for like the entire run of the app. Seems pretty sane to me. Then down here, we're like, okay, what happens if we just try to like render some text? Like fuck all this like widget stuff, just temporarily. Can we just do like text renderer, make layout text, hello. All right, let's start here. We'll start simple. Text with our TTF, right? As well as our distance field render. Okay, we start here. Layout, text layout is this. Const text buffer is make text buffer from the allocator and our text layout. Then we try text renderer render with our text buffer. And fill the fucking screen, please. We did this earlier and it worked great. So what have we done wrong? Fuck. I guess we just won't call layout render, and I think everything else just kind of works for free if we do it that way. HELLO. Okay, so that's good. Can we go back to sampling the distance from here? Okay, that's not good. That's not good at all. What did we do? Maybe last time we reconstructed the text renderer every frame. It's like a very real possibility we did that. No? Oh. GL scissor and GL viewport. Okay, let's like try commenting out anything else. If true, GLW swap buffers and continue. Let's just kind of like get out of this area just to make sure like nothing else is fucking. GLW. Why is it pissed? Oh, he needs the window? Is that what we did down here? Oh, it's just I see. GLFW swap buffers is what we were doing down there. I see. I see. Okay. So even there, like, yeah, I don't understand what's happening here. Because we definitely like were testing this just before mainstream and it was working fine. Could be that our atlas texture coordinates are wrong. It's definitely possible. Let's just try doing everything within the frame just in case. I don't think so, but it could. No? Oh, I wonder if the text renderer here, when he renders, does he not like fix the viewport? He doesn't. I see. He's just like render to where, oh wait, no, it should be when we make the distance field is where that should happen. It'd be nice to like look at the whole atlas to see if we're fucking that up. Is that like easy to do? Can we like text renderer like glyph atlas texture inner? Can we just like fucking like render this shit? I don't think we have like plain render program. Maybe it's like easy to hook into text renderer render. We pass in a buffer. Can we use... We are using the glyph atlas already. So all we have to do is force the buffer to render the whole thing, which is easy. We just do text renderer, make text buffer. What does he do? Text renderer, program, make default buffer. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I was looking for. This is the cheat code. This is the cheat code. Render me the whole fucking atlas. Please. Just let me look at what it looks like. It's so small. It's so small. Why? I guess we can make a transform that says like bring the top left. Can we like translate it by literally 1 1? That should bring the bottom left up to the center. And then we can like scale this thing up. I think that does what I want. We will see. There's all sorts of bugs that could be happening, so it's hard to tell. Okay, wait, but that's good. So this is the glyph atlas that we were talking about. Oops, can we... There's some sort of error that we're supposed to be doing. Probably here. Okay. Let's try that. Yeah, okay. Oh, still spamming out of memory? Who is running out of memory here? Layout text. I mean, that's probably a clue. Yeah, I don't really feel like anybody should be running out of memory here. This loop is doing nothing. He's doing so little. I mean, it's got to be in this layout text, right? He is initializing some glyph locations. Get glyph location. Ooh. What is... I think that this kind of... Oh, this is just to feed the glyph atlas? Sure. Yeah, what the fuck? What in the fuck is going on? This frees our glyph locations? Sure, there's nothing crazy going on there. Text buffer deinit deletes some vertex buffers. And this thing just... Yeah, I don't really see what the fucking problem is, to be honest. Is it in this? No. Who the fuck is ooming? Ensure total capacity right item. Can we do some form of like... I mean, this is like a good clue, so it's... Can we, in our general purpose allocator, stack trace trans equals 1,000. Like, just let it go to the fucking moon.